I've always been a night owl. My job as a freelance graphic designer keeps me awake during the oddest hours, and the quiet of the night fuels my creativity. But for the past few weeks, my midnight ritual of working at my desk has been disrupted by something I can't explain. Something that's left me questioning my sanity. It started 3 weeks ago. I live alone in a small single-story house on the outskirts of town. It's a quiet neighborhood, the kind where everyone knows everyone. Or at least, that's what I thought. One night as I was sipping coffee and finalizing a project, I heard 3 soft knocks on my front door. It was strange. Who knocks on someone's door at midnight? I froze, listening for any follow-up noise, but the house was silent. My porch light was off and I couldn't see anything through the window. Against my better judgment, I unlocked the door and peeked outside. No one was there. It might have been a prank, I told myself. Kids messing around. I locked the door and went back to my desk, though the sound of those knocks stayed with me long after I fell asleep. The next night, it happened again. 3 soft knocks. This time I didn't open the door. Instead, I stayed still, my heart pounding. I turned on the porch light and waited, hoping to catch a glimpse of whoever was there. But again, nothing. The street was empty, and the silence was deafening. By the 3rd night, I was on edge. I decided to call my neighbor, Mrs. Harding, a sweet, older woman who often kept an eye on the neighborhood. When I told her about the knocks, she sounded concerned. "Maybe you should call the police," she suggested, "or get a camera." I bought a cheap security camera the next morning and installed it above my front door. That night, I stayed up, waiting for the knocks. Sure enough, at exactly 12 a.m., they came. 3 soft, deliberate taps. My stomach twisted as I opened the app on my phone to check the live feed. There was no one there. My porch was empty. My heart raced as I replayed the footage again and again. But the result was the same. Nothing. I felt like I was losing my mind. The knocks didn't stop. Every night at midnight, they came. Always the same pattern. Always the same intensity. I started sleeping with the lights on, but it didn't help. I couldn't focus on my work, and every creak in the house set me on edge. I barely left the house, and when I did, I found myself looking over my shoulder, feeling watched. One night, I decided to confront the stranger. I sat by the door, a kitchen knife clutched tightly in my hand. When the knocks came, I flung the door open, ready to face whoever, or whatever, was tormenting me. But there was no one there. I stepped outside, my breath fogging in the cold air. The street was as still as ever. Not a single car or person in sight. Then, I noticed something odd. A faint smell of cigarette smoke lingering in the air. I don't smoke, and none of my neighbors do either. It made no sense. As I stood there trying to piece things together, I felt a chill crawl down my spine. I wasn't alone. I turned quickly, but there was no one behind me. The sensation was so strong, though, that I bolted back inside, locking the door behind me. The next morning, I checked the security footage again. This time, I noticed something new. The camera hadn't picked up anyone near the door, but in the distance, at the edge of the street, I saw a faint figure standing under the street lamp. He was barely visible, but he was there, watching. I didn't know what to do. The police would think I was crazy if I reported someone knocking on my door and disappearing into thin air. My friends chalked it up to stress and lack of sleep. But I knew it was more than that. Last night, everything changed. The knocks came as usual, but this time they didn't stop. 3 knocks. Silence. Then 3 more. Over and over. My hand shook as I watched the door, willing it to stop. Suddenly, my phone buzzed with a notification from the security app. Motion detected at front door. I opened the app and my blood ran cold. There, standing directly in front of the camera, was a man. He wasn't looking at the door, though. He was looking directly into the camera, as if he knew I was watching. His face was pale, his eyes sunken, and his expression blank. He didn't knock. He just stood there, staring. I called the police, my voice trembling as I explained the situation. When they arrived, the man was gone. They searched the area but found no sign of him. The officer assured me they'd patrol the neighborhood and told me to call if it happened again. This morning I checked the footage again. The man wasn't there anymore. But I noticed something else. Each night for the past 3 weeks at exactly 12 a.m., the camera had recorded a brief, faint motion at the edge of the screen. A shadow, moving closer and closer to my house. And then I realized the most chilling part. The man last night wasn't a stranger. He looked eerily familiar, like an older version of me. I haven't slept since. Midnight is just a few hours away, and I don't know what will happen tonight. But I'm starting to wonder if the knocks were never meant to be a warning, but a countdown.